All right.
Yeah.
Better long-term prospect out of the two Josh Allens.
Ooh, that's a really good question.
What do you think?
Well,
I
I have a man crush on Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Okay.
It's hard to overturn.
So
me on my
emotionally,
thoughts
you're
that.
tied to him.
I am. I really am. He was my #1 quarterback in the draft last year, and you know me, I'm a sucker for big arms, and he's a really good athlete, and I'm kind of rooting for him.
Big arms, big ass and legs.
Yes. And that's why he ran for almost 100 yards in 3 consecutive games. He got 99 in one of them. But, yeah, he's a special talent, the Josh Allen.
All right, those are the big prospects. Yeah. But you have some guys, some prospects that you think deserve a little bit more love, a little bit more attention.
You know it.
All right, this is Robin Hood?
This is Robin Hood, and you're going, what the hell is Robin Hood? There I am. I asked
God.
for, like, the Kevin Costner Robin Hood.
No, that's the 1973 cartoon Robin Hood.
Okay,
My kids watch that.
Okay, that's good.
And it's a 73 cartoon, so you hope that they don't pick up on certain things and ask questions that are really uncomfortable.
Right.
Like, it's just a harmless cartoon, please.
I don't know if I've seen the 73 one in a while. I always go to the Kevin Costner Robin Hood, okay? He's a ladies' man. He's good with the bow and arrow. It just fits me. That's what I thought.
That is a horrible movie, and you need to go back and watch it. First off, Costner has no English accent at all, or if he's trying to do one, it's
point.
So bad.
Valid point. He doesn't.
They do have the guy who plays the sheriff is the what is he?
Sheriff of Nottingham?
He is the villain from Die Hard.
He is. He's the guy that gets thrown off the building. You're right.
And I believe Morgan Freeman performs the first C-section in British history. What a movie.
I forgot about
what
that.
What a film that is.
That's why I wanted to be Kevin Costner. But for all those out there listening going, what the is Simms talking about with Robin Hood right now? What I'm talking about is I want to take from the rich and give to the poor. And I feel like that's exactly what happens here in draft season. It's always about, all we hear about is Kyler Murray, the quarterbacks, Quinnen Williams, Ed Oliver, Josh Allen from Kentucky, all the sexy names at the top of the draft. And I understand that. I understand that's what drives traffic. But I want to show some guys that deserve some love in this draft process who I think are special prospects and kind of put them on everybody's radar to say, watch out for these guys in the next 2 to 3 years. I think they can be special players in the NFL, like superstar caliber talents that I've seen so far, to where I go, nobody's talking about them, and let's be the guys to do that.
All right, you're the guy in the draft room who's making the case right now. You like somebody, you need to rate them higher. We need to look at this guy if we have an opportunity.
Right.
Should we start?
Let's start.
First one.
Yeah.
You got edge rusher from TCU. You have L.J. Collier.
I was late on this guy, okay? I'll be the first to admit.
A lot of edge rushers.
A lot of edge rushers, and I just didn't get all the way down the list to where he was until, a little bit after, really, I had already evaluated about 10, 12 defensive ends, and then had a few friends tell me and ask me, have you watched this guy? And I was like, man, I just saw a little of him. I haven't really watched him. But L.J. Collier, to me, is would be one of the steals of the draft, and I think he's really a guy that deserves to be talked about in the end of the first-round conversation. I'll just put it out there like this. L.J. Collier, 6'2", 280-something pounds, coming off the edge. First of all, I think he's got more high-end talent than a guy like Clelin Ferrell from Clemson. I think he's more talented than that. If I re-ranked my edge prospects, if we got that, let's throw that up there if you're watching. It's 1, Nick Bosa, 2, Rashawn Gary, 3, Montez Sweat, 4, Josh Allen. Number 5 would be L.J. Collier in front of Brian Burns, Jalen Ferguson, and then Clelin Ferrell, who are, let me just say, all of these guys are top 40, top 45 prospects in the draft. I don't think there's any question about that. It's a special group this year.
There are some people that the size is there.
Yeah.
6'2", 280.
Right.
Huge wingspan.
Right.
So he looks like he looks the part.
He looks the part.
Some people wonder about balance, athleticism within that frame.
I'm glad you're asking me that, first of all, because, first of all, his athleticism and balance is really what makes him special to me, okay? From this aspect. When he rushes the passer, Liam, his ability to, shake people, or I'm going to come in real fast and then stop and then do something else again. His suddenness, his twitchiness, his explosiveness that way. He ran a 4.9 at the combine. He's much faster than on the field, and he is special one-on-one to where he can make offensive tackles and guards miss. Now, the balance thing, it comes up in my notes, but it's not his fault. Okay, this is the thing I'll say out there, and I think a lot of evaluators miss out on this. If you're playing defense end, Annie, I'm going to stand up for 2 seconds, okay? If you're playing defense end, okay, and here is the quarterback. He's over here like this. Okay, now your defensive coach calls something to go, we want you to stunt inside and go all the way from outside the tackle in between the guard and center. Okay, so when you're first have to be like this. Well, if a team has like a running assignment where they're pushing or blocking you down, there's nobody on earth that can go 7 feet to the left on a full sprint with a 300-pounder on their back and go, oh, I'm going to just stop here in the hole and hold it all down. That doesn't happen. And I think that's where people get misevaluated with certain things like that. It's not realistic to even expect him to be able to stop. Collier Mack wouldn't be able to stop. You know, you go Michael Bennett on the Patriots wouldn't be able to stop. You go through it, it does not matter. So I think people sometimes knock people because of unrealistic things you're asked to do in your defensive scheme.
They see him on the tape. They see him off his feet on the ground.
Oh, how can this guy be?
And it's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, exactly right. But he's a special pass rusher, and for his size, his quickness, and, you know, I'm into bend, his ability, like we see when we go to Notre Dame games or anything like that, guys that can get real low and turn the corner, he has that ability, yes, and I think he is a guy that deserves to be in that 25 to 35 conversation. I'm glad we gave him some love.
All right, so you're going to stand up throughout this one?
No, that was the last
one.
one.
Good. I'm not standing.
All right, good.
This is it. All right. All right, let's go Darnell Savage.
Yeah,
Maryland, safety.
Woo, like this might be one of my favorite players in the NFL draft. And to me, this is the second best safety in the draft. Jonathan Abram from Mississippi State, I will give him the title holder. Darnell Savage, 5'11", 198 pounds, ran a 4.36.
Yep.
Plays like he runs 4.26. Plays like he runs 4.28. Flies on film, and really, it's very hard for me to come up with comparisons at safety in the NFL because it's such a special skill set. He's a true free safety. He really reminds me of Devin McCourty up in New England because he's that fast and that athletic to where, hey, if people don't realize this, Devin McCourty caught an interception last year against Buffalo, returned it for a touchdown, and I believe was clocked as the fastest guy in football, miles per hour-wise. He is that fast. There's a reason he was drafted as a first-round corner. Darnell Savage has the same type of explosion, if not better than a McCourty. His ability to read and then react and go get a running back before he gets to the hole, or a guy who's catching a bubble screen, Liam, to me it was like can't miss TV. I think he deserves, again, to be in the conversation for end of the first round or somewhere at least in the top 40 to 45 picks for sure. He's a special player in the league of speed. And
that's the thing. A lot of the stuff that you're saying should be obvious. It should be like the 40 time is the 40 time. The size, the athleticism.
Why?
Why?
I don't know. This is why I want to bring love to the guy, because I don't get it either. You know, good tackler. You know why? Because this is probably why. Probably doesn't quite have the size of the normal, like, this is not Jamal Adams or a Derwin James type safety.
But the whole league's going that way.
I know.
Right?
You're exactly right.
So
and they're not. His guy's not a strong safety. He's more free safety. Play him in space. You don't want him to make a living taking on pulling guards. His ability is to almost be nickelback / safety. Do everything that way. And again, he's not like a killer tackler, which I think like people lose their sex appeal. But there's a reason they're called safety, because they're the last line of defense and they just want you to make the damn tackle so nobody goes for a touchdown. He is a great tackler in open space, and nobody is going 70 yards to the house with him on the field because he is going to run you down.
I've seen some people put out there Bob Sanders comparisons.
It's that type of explosiveness.
Okay.
I wrote Earl Thomas in my notes as well, because of explosiveness. He's not as thick as a Bob Sanders like that, but the speed and movements is very similar to that. I'm glad you did your homework on this. That's
listen,
cool. Way to go, kid.
You know, cramming late for the
Happy
test.
Earth Day.
That's it. That's all I've got. Yeah. So we'll see what we can get. You can stop listening to the podcast right now. Jamel Dean, Auburn, cornerback. Pretty good size.
Jamel Dean,
6'1",
6'1". Right, exactly right. Ran what? Was it a 4.3 flat?
4.3 was the official time. 4.3 flat.
4.3 flat,
yes.
Okay. Guy, this is one reason you're not hearing about this guy. Had 3 knee surgeries in college. So there's the first reason he's off of, the top tier radar. Now, this is a guy who doesn't deserve to be drafted in the top 40 to 45 picks. He probably should be somewhere between, let's just say, 45 and 65, okay? Because he is raw, but there is some physical attributes. Again, There's just not a lot of corners in football who are 6'1", 206 pounds and can run 4.3 flat. He's special that way. He is one of those guys, Liam, just real quick. I mean, when he gets his hands on people at the line of scrimmage, the receivers, it's over, night. He's going to dominate you physically. But again, what I always say about corners, and hopefully this makes sense, the greatest corners of all time could all fly.
Yeah.
And I think people miss that sometimes. We look for other traits, and I go, okay, but we go Darrell Green, Deion Sanders, Darrell Revis, Rod Woodson early on in his career, Charles Woodson early on in his career, Champ Bailey. Who else am I missing? Any other ones out there that are all-time greats? Their ability for their top-end speed is special to where they don't have to go 100% all out when somebody's running a go route, right? They can just go, I'm going 90%. All of a sudden they put the brakes on, and because they're not going 100 miles per hour or 100%, they're able to stop and play the underneath routes because they can trust their speed down the field to go, this guy can't outrun me deep. I'll err on the short stuff. That's what he can do. And to me, again, not a first round, not a top 40 talent, but a guy I'm just throwing out there to go, he's special. He has some really elite traits. And don't be shocked if this guy's in the combo for like one of the best cornerbacks in football 2 to 3 years.
Without the knee injuries,
it's scary a little bit. If it weren't for the
it's
knee
different
injuries,
now, though, don't you think?
it is, definitely.
I think the way surgeries are now and the way people recover. I mean, he's running a 4.3 right now, so it's not like it's affected athleticism.
And you're right.
I mean,
and when you're that young, it concerns me, less than it does if he was 27 years old and going through his last one or whatever it may be. I think the big thing for this kid is, if he didn't have the knee injuries, it would have given him more time on the field. He's a little raw that way, and he doesn't have a ton of film to watch. But still, just a special guy that I would say watch out for.
All right, let's go to an interesting one here.
Yeah.
Diontae Johnson, Toledo.
Yes.
All right, so it's a receiver, but guy can return kicks, return punts.
Right.
Not the fastest.
Not the fastest, exactly right.
When you combine those positions, you're expecting some elite speed.
Right.
So I saw here for him a 4.53 40.
Yes. Yeah, if there's one thing I look at his game and say it's a little negative is, his top-end speed is not of a DK Metcalf or a Paris Campbell or a Marquise Hollywood Brown. It's not quite there. But what is on the same level as them is his acceleration, okay? So his first few steps and his ability to make people miss at the line of scrimmage or get off the line of scrimmage cleanly is special. So he can win at the line of scrimmage right away to where maybe he's not going to go 80 yards down the field, but a good quarterback sees him win, throws it 30 yards down the field, he's still going to have the lead against the corner or whatever it may be. Very good route runner, and this is what I think was really impressive. You mentioned the punt return, his ability to carry the ball and make people miss in space. First guy never tackles him, breaks an ankles every time. He's great that way, and he has a really incredible knack for catching the ball and having a feel for where the defender is. So catching the ball, and I feel you here to where he's catching it and almost peeling away as he's catching it because he knows you're there and he's going to make that first guy miss. To me, that was what was very special about him. Yeah, he's not an outside receiver all the time guy. He's kind of a slot outside combination, but I think a guy that we need to give some love to, and I think certainly is on the – I wouldn't be mad if somebody had him as their 5th-rated wide receiver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, would you use him at punt return and kick return?
I would. I would certainly certainly punt
huge.
return. I know.
The fact you're filling multiple spots with a pick.
Great value. This is a guy that, I think will be drafted in the 2nd round at some point.
Right.
I do. I think teams know about this kid, and this is one of those where they're all being quiet. Like, I hope that team doesn't know about it. And I want to be like, I've talked to like 5 of my friends, and you've all brought up his name, so everybody knows him now.
Well, he's sort of that guy because his production in his senior year, not incredible the receiver position, but you go back to the junior year, and he had almost like 1,300 yards.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly
all right.
right.
So we go from Toledo, and then we go back to major program.
Yeah.
All right. Mecole Hardman, Georgia. Similar size.
Yep.
All right.
Right.
5'10", 187. Much faster here, though.
Much faster. Not maybe the same wiggle as a Diontae Johnson. Not going to make people miss that way. But Mecole Hardman, I've had my eye on this kid for 2 years at Georgia. Number 4, he's got a rocket up his ass. That's the only other way I can say it. He's raw as a receiver. I almost think of a Tyreek Hill-ish guy. Maybe not quite as fast Tyreek Hill, but similar in theory to a Tyreek Hill or a Percy Harvin, that kind of guy where you go, here's a speed sweep, here's a toss sweep, he might turn the corner and run for 70 yards, here's a screen, he might make one person miss and run for 70 yards, run a post route, we'll just bomb it to you, and then kick return and punt return skills there for him too, right? It's special that way. He's a guy that's a little bit of work in progress at the wide receiver position because it's new to him, but I think he's got big-time talent, and a guy that, again, I think will sneak in higher than what people expect. Like, he could be end of the second round, early third round. There's just not a lot of people that can move like him on planet Earth to where, again, the draft is about elite traits, and he has some elite traits about him.
That's an elite trait to have, a rocket up your ass.
Yeah, it is. Very elite.
It is. It's underrated.
It better be battery-powered, though, because this is Earth Day. So no fumes.
I understand.
He's got to have a Tesla rocket up his ass.
Important qualifier to make there. All right, Vosean Joseph, linebacker from Florida. All right, so not enormous, 6'1", 230, athletic. People wonder maybe inconsistent. You go back, you look at the tape. Do you see inconsistency, or do you see what jumps out?
Inconsistency? I get it. You know, it's a little bit more of a free-flowing style in Florida. The linebackers are allowed to just play street ball, which is just go get the football. And I think that's, again, here, this guy is not in Devin White or Devin Bush's class. It's not that guy. But, everybody I hear or talk about linebacker positions, the next guy up is Mack Wilson, from Alabama, who's a good player. And then the next guy after that is the kid from Clemson, who I'm blanking on his name, or Jermaine Pratt, who we've seen from North Carolina State, who's a middle linebacker. I like those guys. Don't get me wrong. But for me, after the two Whites, this I thought was the third most impressive linebacker I watched. And these are first-round talents, but I saw this kid and I just went, he's a lot like Darius Leonard from last year, who won Rookie of the Year on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, 6'1", 230. He didn't run the 40 at the combine. But, man, Liam, any games he's in, any play I watch, he's all over the ball. He, for not a big guy, really plays well in the trash, can get off blocks, can make blockers miss and still get the ball and find the ball. Just a true ball-hawking linebacker. And as you and I both know, you need to be athletic at the middle linebacker position this day and age, with the tight ends and all the things offenses are doing on the offensive side of the ball with backs out of the backfield. So really, the linebacker position dictates the speed of your defense. When you have fast linebackers, teams usually go, you're a fast defense.
So the two Devins, right? You have Devin White, you have Devin Bush. Do you have him?
I would make him number 3.
Would you really?
I think he's more impressive than Mack Wilson.
Okay.
Might not be schooled as well, might not be technically as perfect as Mack Wilson, but I think there's more elite plays and elite film on him to where I go, whoa, Mack Wilson can't do that.
Okay.
I know he can't do that. And I like that aspect, especially when we're talking about guys in the first 2 or 3 rounds of the draft.
All right, we'll finish with this guy, Jace Sternberger, Texas A&M, 6'4", 250, tight end.
6'4", 250 tight end. This, for me, is the third best tight end in the draft behind the two Iowa kids, right? Sternberger ran a 4.75 at the combine. Film is much faster than that. I always write what my guess is after I watch a few plays. And for him, I wrote down 4.65. I thought he really, on film, looked every bit as fast as T.J. Hawkinson from Iowa. And a little bit more of a lumbering style, kind of runs with big strides and flat feet like Gronkowski does. Yeah, it really is. To me, to where I think this kid is the end of the first-round talent. I really do. Where I wouldn't be shocked if New England at 32 went with this type of guy. People around him, catches the ball fearlessly, has an unbelievable catch radius. And, Liam, I think the thing that, the negative would be not as good as a run blocker as I'd like, but the tools are there. I even wrote in my notes, he's kind of just a get-or-done guy. I'm not supposed to let you get here. Well, I'll just get you, and you won't get there.
He's not going to crush somebody. You're not going to,
all the time. And I think that can be learned. And when you get taught technique and you get around other NFL tight ends and you start to see, I got to block this guy. I can't just get her done here. I got to rely on something else and get her done. I think he has the ability to be a good blocker. But Liam, this is, I think, the best thing about him. Man, after the catch, he runs through tackles. He runs through contact when he's running routes and has some wiggly, greasy hips to make people miss in space to where you're like, how are they missing him? Because it's not all necessarily like Gronk, where you go like, why is nobody catching him? Or why is he making somebody miss? That doesn't look fast or quick. But yet you watch the film and go, nobody tackles him or nobody catches him. And I like his game a lot. To me, he is definitely a top 40, top 45 pick. And like I said, I would not be shocked if he went late in the first round.
Would you rather have a rocket up your ass or wiggly, greasy hips?
I'd rather have the rocket up my ass.
Would you? Yeah, in the end, that's really more value.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.